And I thought I would talk more about the Lash of Hatred Quasiclass, which is what this open subrace character is. So this Quasiclass, like I said, is a combination of Ranger and Blackguard. And you can actually build it either with more levels in Ranger or with more levels in Blackguard. And that actually gives you what we call on higher ground a different control class. It's probably more common to go Blackguard rather than Ranger, but because I was using an open subrace, one of the important skills as a fighter or a tank of any sort you have is listen, which ordinarily it's kind of like, okay, you can detect hidden creatures, who cares? But what we have, there's an addition to this, is it penetrates concealment. So instead of taking blind fight, which kind of gives you a little bit of concealment penetration, this gives you a lot. So if you can max it out, it's actually really, really good. So the problem is, if I go Blackguard, listen is not a skill for Blackguard. It's not a class skill, so I'd have to take it cross class. I could get a max of something like 23, or I could dump it at level 40 and get 43, which is kind of good. What you really want is to be able to max it out, meaning to get 127. So that includes plus 50 for gear, and 63 is the maximum, because we have go up to 63, 60 normal levels. You can get to 63. Right now I'm only level 50. I don't have a lot of gear, so it's only at 66. So I can show you the command. Let's see if I can take my badger off here for a second. Oops. Hit heal. So we list skills. So you can see my skills here that I've taken. So concentration, which protects you against certain checks. Hide also gives you your own concealment. There's listen. So that's as maximum as I can go at this level. I got 53. So it's very important to be able to take that. Now, normally what people will build with is the race half elf, which automatically qualifies for a feat, so you can take listen in legendary levels. That's what most people do that aren't stuck with open subrace characters. But so I have this. So this one's a Lash control class. You say, how can I possibly learn about these quasis? How do they work? So you go to the higher ground board. You can look here under class ability spell customization, and you look under Quasiclass documentation. So these are all the Quasiclasses. So they're non-traditional, they're weird combinations of classes. Some of them kind of do seem like they would make sense, but basically we make them so that they make more sense, kind of in the high magic, higher ground environment. So we have Bane Knight, Staff Master, Thurge, Life Threader, Lash of Hatred, Bloodfire Mage, Curse Pariah, Noash Adventure. Probably shouldn't build that one right now. It's still a little bit broken. The rest of them are okay. Dwarven War Chanter, Herald of Storms, Dragon of Storm Mage. So mine is a Lash of Hatred. So it tells you right here you need to do these things to qualify for it. Basically, there's a script looking for you to do all these things. You have to have 12 levels of Ranger, 10 levels of Blackguard, and weapon focus whip. So the one bad thing about using this particular Quasiclass as your starting class is you have to use whips. You can't use anything else. Well, you could, but there's kind of no point, because all of your abilities are based on whips. So you get neat stuff. You get weapon specialization, you get improved disarm, knockdown, improved knockdown. All this stuff is free bonus feats. My kid's running around making crazy noises. But this is what we do. So the neat thing, you can actually scroll all the way down. So these are all the different changes. War Chanter, where is it? Curse Pariah, Bloodfire Mage, Lash of Hatred. So Lash of Hatred is right here, so it tells you the requirements. So you get this stuff. So your Blade Thirst, your Camouflage is combined Ranger level and Blackguard level. So the Blade Thirst actually works on the whip, and it gives you bonus damage against your favored enemies. And it also allows you to inflict your favored enemies with certain penalties. That's this Touch of the Lash. So it's really, really nice. So you can get damage vulnerabilities. So it's a really great tank to have around, because not only do you hit things, your damage may not be that great, but you're basically making everybody else in the party better. So it's one of the kind of favorite meleeers that actually works. So the problem is you're limited in the number of favored enemies you have. It only works against certain racial types. So I did this one. This is based around, so we have elves, humans, aberrations, dragons, monsters, and outsiders. It really only works kind of up to maybe level 55-ish. But once you start getting into more of the endgame areas, this set of favored enemies really doesn't work. So I would probably have to reincarnate, that is, rebuild, respec, to make this better. But for right now, it works pretty well. So I built this basically I did a from-scratch playthrough. I didn't give myself any gold, and I got it to immortality. The only thing I did later on is I did give myself a better whip, just because the best whip I got was this one, which is okay, but this is a Dustbone whip. So this is Nixie's Lash. A lot of them are named by people that used to play, on higher ground. So any form of interrogation the drone or drow, are responsive to, torturing them with the whip was the best solution. The problem of the tight-lipped drow. However, now that the whip has been soaked in the infernal radiations brought by the Harbinger, that's the meteor that actually destroyed this big civilization, Axaria Imperia, and we're basically kind of hanging out where it used to be. It has been transformed, no longer an instrument of torture. It is now an instrument of death, capable of searing the flesh off the bones with each lashing. Nice. So this is a weapon. You have to have a tag to be able to use this weapon. That means I have to actually be in the presence of Dustbone when he's killed to be able to use it, which I have done earlier. So all of these buffs right here, these are all due to Blade Thirst. So Blade Thirst automatically gives me Keen. I used an item that will actually give you an Epic Spell Focus. So I have Epic Spell Focus Enchantment, so it's plus 13. So I could actually take a Legendary Focus Enchantment. That would give me plus 14. I think if I go to Paragon, it'll give me plus 15, which is really nice. So now that I've made this character,